The Pittsburgh Steelers just made a move that could reshape the future of their offense. And it's all centered around a running back who, up until recently, was still fighting for national recognition. Jaylen Warren has officially signed a 2-year contract extension, locking him in through the 2027 season and putting an end to any speculation about his role moving forward. For Steelers fans, this is huge. For the rest of the league, it's time to pay attention, because Jaylen Warren isn't just a complimentary piece anymore. He's the guy. Now, let's get into what this deal actually means, not just from a number standpoint, but from a football standpoint. According to reports, Warren's extension includes over $7 million this year, with $12 million guaranteed over the 2 years. That's a solid contract for a running back, especially in today's market where teams are hesitant to invest big money in the position. But more than just the financials, this deal sends a clear message. The Steelers believe in Jaylen Warren as their lead back, and they're ready to ride with him. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. When you take a closer look at Warren's production over the last 3 seasons, it becomes clear why Pittsburgh made this move now. Since entering the league as an undrafted free agent out of Oklahoma State, Jaylen has done nothing but produce. We're talking about a guy who ranks second in explosive run rate, 6th in yards per carry, 6th in yards after contact, and 6th in overall success rate. These aren't small numbers. These are elite-level efficiency metrics, and they've held steady over multiple seasons. He's not just a one-year wonder. He's been doing this consistently, even while splitting touches in a crowded backfield. And that's the crazy part. He's done all this while not even being the official RB1. Najee Harris has been the workhorse back for most of Warren's time in Pittsburgh, largely because of his size and punishing running style. Harris was the power, the guy you leaned on in short yardage situations, and who could absorb 20-plus touches per game. But Warren? He was the spark, the explosive, elusive change-of-pace option that kept defenses guessing. And if you really watched this team over the past year or two, you saw what was happening. You saw who was creating chunk plays, who was breaking tackles in space, who was moving the chains on third and long with screen passes. It was Jaylen Warren, every time. So now, with this new contract, it feels like a shift is officially happening. Jaylen Warren is no longer the backup. He's the starter. He's the face of the Steelers' backfield. And that changes everything about how this offense might function, especially with Arthur Smith taking over the play-calling duties. If you know anything about Smith's offensive philosophy, it starts with the ground game. Wide zone concepts, quick-hitting run plays, misdirection, all things that align perfectly with what Warren brings to the table. The Steelers didn't just stumble into this decision, either. This has been building for a while. You could see the writing on the wall when they didn't bring Najee Harris back and used a draft pick on Caleb Johnson, the rookie out of Iowa. Johnson is seen as more of a developmental power back, a guy who could eventually take over the early down role in the mold of what Najee used to be. But he's not there yet. And to be honest, he doesn't need to be. Not with Warren in the picture. Jaylen's ability to run between the tackles, bounce it outside when needed, and contribute as a reliable pass catcher makes him a 3-down threat. He's got elite vision. He's quick through the hole. His contact balance is insane for a guy his size, and he doesn't shy away from contact. And yet, what really separates him is the way he processes the game in real time. He's patient, he lets blocks develop, and he knows when to turn on the jets. This isn't just a physical talent, it's a mental edge. That's what makes the comparison to guys like Austin Ekeler so valid. Ekeler's never been the biggest back in the league, but he's carved out a highly productive career because of his versatility and toughness. Same with guys like Bucky Irving, who proved last season that size isn't the only thing that matters when you're evaluating running back talent. Warren fits that mold, maybe even exceeds it, and the Steelers are treating him accordingly. And here's where it gets even more exciting, because now that Warren is locked in, the Steelers have a legitimate, dynamic backfield duo for the next 3 seasons. You've got Jaylen as your every-down weapon, and eventually, you'll have Caleb Johnson taking on more of those early down, between the tackles duties. That's the ideal setup. That's what Arthur Smith wants, versatility and balance. And the best part? It's cost-effective. Between Warren's reasonable extension and Johnson playing on a rookie deal, Pittsburgh has secured high-level backfield production without breaking the bank. It's also worth pointing out how valuable Warren is in passing situations. Not just catching the ball out of the backfield, which he does at a high level, but also in pass protection. That's one of the most overlooked aspects of the running back position in today's NFL. If you can't pass protect, you can't stay on the field on third down. It's that simple. Warren can, and he does it well. He reads blitzes, he picks up defenders cleanly, and he doesn't miss assignments. That kind of reliability is rare. It gives your quarterback confidence. It gives your offensive coordinator options. And it gives your offense flexibility in high-leverage situations. Let's talk about expectations now. Because with this new deal, the spotlight is officially on Jaylen Warren in a way it never has been before. He's no longer just a feel-good story. He's no longer just the most efficient backup in the league. He's the starter. He's the tone setter. And the expectations are going to rise accordingly. But based on everything we've seen, the production, the toughness, the consistency, there's no reason to believe he can't live up to it. In fact, if he stays healthy and continues to play the way he has, there's a real shot that Warren finishes this season as a top 10 running back in the entire league. Not in efficiency, in total production. And if that happens, the Steelers will have gotten a steal with this contract. Because if you wait until after a breakout season to pay a guy, you pay a premium. By doing it now, Pittsburgh is betting on his continued development, and they're setting themselves up for long-term value. That's just smart team building. And again, let's not forget what this means in the bigger picture. The run game is everything in Arthur Smith's offense. Without it, the whole scheme falls apart. That's what we saw last year when the Steelers' run game was inconsistent and uninspired. It made everything harder. The passing game suffered. The play-action game was non-existent. The team couldn't control the tempo or impose their will. But this year feels different. The offensive line looks like it's going to take a step forward. The coaching is revamped. And now you've got a running back who not only fits the system, he elevates it. And while Caleb Johnson may not be ready to contribute heavily right out of the gate, his potential as a future early down option adds even more upside to this group. He's a physical runner, a downhill guy who can handle volume when the time comes. For now, though, Warren's going to be the guy. And honestly, there's no one better suited for the role. The narrative that a back needs to be over 6 feet tall and weigh 230 pounds to be a lead runner is outdated. The league is evolving. It's about explosiveness. It's about vision. It's about being a mismatch against linebackers in space and having the ability to contribute in every phase of the game. Jaylen Warren checks all those boxes, and he does it at a high level. So, for Steelers fans wondering what this team's identity is going to be moving forward, look no further than the backfield. Because Jaylen Warren is not just part of the plan. He is the plan. And the front office just confirmed it by putting their money where their mouth is. That's the kind of move that sets the tone. That's the kind of move that says, we're serious about building something here. Not just for this season, but for the next 3 years. Jaylen Warren, Caleb Johnson, and an improving offensive line. It's a trio that could quietly become one of the most effective and balanced run games in the entire league if things break right. As we look ahead to the upcoming season, there's a real sense that the Steelers' offense is entering a new era, one defined by speed, efficiency, and balance. Jaylen Warren is at the center of that transformation, and his emergence as the go-to back in Pittsburgh is going to have ripple effects throughout the entire roster. Everything changes when your backfield becomes a strength instead of a question mark, and that's exactly what the Steelers are counting on this year. One of the most important elements of this whole situation is the timing. Pittsburgh made this deal before the season kicks off, which tells you how much confidence the organization has in Warren, not just as a short-term solution, but as a foundational piece of their offense. They didn't wait to see if he could hold up with a heavier workload. They didn't hedge their bets. They looked at his production, his attitude, his work ethic, and said, this is our guy. And in a league where teams often hesitate when it comes to committing to running backs, that kind of faith speaks volumes. And let's talk about that workload, because there's a good chance we're going to see Jaylen Warren touch the ball more this season than at any point in his career. That's by design. The Steelers want him involved early and often, not just running the ball, but as a weapon in the passing game as well. The plan is to lean on him, especially in the early weeks of the season, while Caleb Johnson continues to adjust to the speed and complexity of the pro level. Johnson might not be fully ready to step into a major role just yet, and that's okay because Warren can handle the load. There's always this assumption that smaller running backs can't be lead backs because they'll wear down over a full season. But that narrative doesn't really hold water when you look at how Warren plays the game. He's low to the ground, built like a tank in his lower half, and he rarely takes clean hits. He's elusive in traffic and knows how to protect himself, which means fewer high-impact collisions. That kind of body control, paired with elite balance and lower body strength, makes him uniquely suited to absorb contact without losing explosiveness. He doesn't get pushed back. He falls forward. He finishes runs. He keeps drives alive. And that's where Arthur Smith comes back into the picture. This offensive system is tailor-made for a guy like Jaylen Warren. Smith has built his reputation on leaning into the run game, using it to set up the rest of the offense. When he had success in Tennessee, it was because Derrick Henry was wearing defenses down with volume and explosiveness. Now, Warren is a different type of back. Obviously, he's not a 6'3" bruiser who bulldozes through linebackers, but he brings something that Arthur Smith loves: vision, patience, and the ability to create on his own when the play breaks down. You're going to see a lot of wide zone concepts this year. That means stretch runs, bootlegs, play action off outside zone, and Jaylen Warren is built for it. He reads leverage incredibly well, knows how to make that one decisive cut and get upfield, and has the short area quickness to explode through tiny openings. He's not a back who needs perfect blocking. He creates his own space. And once he gets into the second level, he becomes a serious problem for defenders trying to bring him down in open space. And that's where the upside really kicks in. Because once the system starts to click, once the offensive line gels, once the timing with the quarterback gets locked in, this team has a chance to be a nightmare to deal with. Opposing defenses are going to have to choose. Do you load the box to stop Jaylen Warren and risk getting beat over the top? Or do you sit back in coverage and hope your front four can contain him? That's the kind of pressure you want your offense to create. Now, let's not pretend everything is going to be perfect from day one. Caleb Johnson still needs time to develop. There's going to be a learning curve. Pass protection, especially for rookie backs, is a major adjustment. Johnson wasn't asked to do a lot of that in college, and it shows. But the potential is there. He's got the size, the frame, and the running style to eventually become that hammer on early downs, giving the Steelers a true 1-2 punch. For now, though, it's all about Warren. The thing is, Warren isn't just a guy who can fill a role. He's a difference maker. That becomes clear when you really study his tape. The vision is there. The patience is there. The explosiveness is there. And maybe most importantly, the decision-making is there. He doesn't dance in the backfield. He doesn't waste motion. He gets downhill fast and finishes runs hard. That's exactly what Arthur Smith wants out of his backs. No hesitation, just execution. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world has been shaken to its core with the latest whispers surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers' offseason maneuvers, as sources close to the organization suggest that the team has allegedly secured wide receiver Tyreek Hill in a move that could redefine the very landscape of professional football. Hill, renowned for his blinding speed, precise route running, and game-breaking playmaking ability, would instantly transform the Steelers' offensive arsenal into one of the most feared units in the league. Rumors indicate that the deal, reportedly structured with both cash incentives and performance bonuses, was finalized after months of behind-the-scenes negotiations, fueling speculation that Pittsburgh's front office is aggressively aiming to challenge the reigning superpowers in the AFC. Insiders claim that coaches and players are ecstatic about the potential of pairing Hill's unmatched acceleration with quarterback Kenny Pickett's evolving precision, hinting at a new era where defensive coordinators might struggle to keep pace with a combination of explosive talent and strategic ingenuity. Observers across the NFL are abuzz with chatter that Pittsburgh's newfound offensive velocity could be unprecedented, as analysts debate whether the Steelers' revamped receiving core now boasts the capability to execute rapid-fire, long-range attacks that leave opponents scrambling, questioning traditional defensive schemes, and generating a spectacle that could dominate sports headlines throughout the season. Speculation continues to intensify around the Steelers' locker room chemistry, as whispers suggest that Hill's arrival is already influencing the dynamics of team meetings, practice sessions, and pre-game preparations. While details remain tightly guarded, sources hint at a palpable excitement among veteran players who reportedly view Hill as a catalyst capable of energizing younger teammates and instilling a sense of invincibility on the field. Conversations among insiders point to a potential ripple effect across the AFC North, with rival teams allegedly recalculating their defensive strategies, reviewing tape obsessively, and considering personnel adjustments to counteract a receiving core that now may possess the fastest tandem in professional football history. Analysts speculate that Hill's impact will extend beyond mere speed, emphasizing his versatility in slot, wide, and deep threat roles, which could create mismatches that leave defenders stranded and coaches questioning their play-calling decisions. Rumors also suggest that this move signals a broader organizational philosophy, prioritizing dynamic, high-octane offensive schemes, positioning Pittsburgh not only as a Super Bowl contender, but also as a franchise willing to embrace bold gambles in pursuit of gridiron supremacy. Fans have reportedly taken to social media to express amazement, shock, and anticipation, fueling a digital frenzy that has some insiders claiming that the Steelers' Tyreek Hill acquisition might be the most talked-about off-season development in years. The buzz extends beyond the field, with sources suggesting that Hill's presence may influence merchandise sales, ticket demand, and regional media attention, potentially transforming Pittsburgh into a hotspot for national coverage and sponsorship opportunities. Rumors indicate that executives are strategizing marketing campaigns centered on Hill's electric personality, highlight real potential, and social media influence, aiming to maximize both brand visibility and fan engagement. Observers speculate that his addition could ignite renewed interest among casual viewers, drawing attention to games that might otherwise be overlooked, while simultaneously pressuring other teams to pursue marquee acquisitions to remain competitive in an increasingly aggressive market. Discussions in insider circles highlight the potential cultural shift within the organization, as Hill's high-energy playing style and off-field charisma may set a precedent for future acquisitions, signaling a willingness to embrace audacious moves to maintain relevance. Analysts and former players allegedly debate the long-term impact of this rumored deal, questioning whether Hill's presence will accelerate the Steelers' offensive evolution or create challenges in balancing talent distribution, chemistry, and coaching strategies. But the overarching narrative among insiders seems unanimous. Pittsburgh's rumored acquisition has created an unparalleled buzz, sparking conversations from analyst panels to fan forums and ensuring that the team will dominate headlines before the season even begins. Strategists and critics alike have reportedly been recalibrating their projections for the upcoming NFL season, fueled by speculation that Hill's integration into Pittsburgh's offense will dramatically alter the team's tempo, scoring efficiency, and aerial threat. Rumors suggest that coaches are already envisioning innovative schemes designed to exploit Hill's elite speed, including rapid release passing, jet sweeps, and deep vertical threats that could stretch defenses to their limits. Conversations among insiders also hint at a potential domino effect, with other AFC teams possibly reconsidering draft priorities, free agent targets, and defensive alignments to counteract a Steelers unit that might now operate with unprecedented velocity. Analysts speculate that the psychological impact of facing a receiver of Hill's caliber could disrupt opposing defenses before the first snap, creating uncertainty and forcing adjustments that might compromise traditional game plans. Fans are reportedly buzzing with anticipation, imagining highlight reel plays, jaw-dropping touchdowns, and the possibility of Pittsburgh redefining the very meaning of speed in the NFL. While official confirmation remains elusive, the collective murmurs surrounding this rumored acquisition underscore a widespread belief that the Steelers' offensive transformation, spearheaded by Hill, could produce one of the most electrifying talk-of-the-town seasons in recent memory, setting the stage for debates, narratives, and speculation that will dominate sports media discourse well into the next year. Finally, the cultural and historical implications of Tyreek Hill potentially joining the Steelers are the subject of fervent speculation among pundits, fans, and former players who see this move as emblematic of a new age of NFL offense dominated by pace, versatility, and spectacle. Rumors suggest that Hill's rumored presence in Pittsburgh could redefine the franchise's identity, shifting the perception of the team from methodical and physical to explosively dynamic and difficult to contain. Conversations in insider circles focus on the long-term ramifications for both player development and coaching philosophy, suggesting that Pittsburgh's offensive blueprint might prioritize agility, misdirection, and high-speed precision, setting a precedent for the league at large. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.